go get this.
Have your attention, please. Miss Manning, please call the front office. Miss Manning, please call the front office.
Do we sit where
I don't know where the
want?
light is, but this is.
Right now you're sitting where you want. Get started on your bell work,
I'm waiting
please.
Abby's right there.
Rudy, you want to sit in the back?
Let me get started.
No, I want to sit
My family's already broke, man.
Relax.
I don't know where to sit because every time I sit somewhere,
Y'all
it's
sit
over
there, because that's where I
Everything recorded.
where I sit. I should.
Sit here. And I sit there.
We want to sit back there. Yeah. Chrissy, I mean Abby.
Come on, let's go.
Abby, you're back on the wrong side of the trash can. Watch us run.
You're such a bad person.
Okay, no, because Landon and Ashley and all them are sitting right here. And then,
We'll sit in the front row and join them.
hey, Joe, Jayla's in here.
Wait, no, you want to I like how you always do. They walked in first.
Oh, yeah, no, they
Camera.
can sit there. Don't turn around.
Are you going to do that? I sit.
Hey, it's middle-aged mom going through a crisis.
I'm not doing it there.
Oh my gosh, why are you screaming, honey?
All right, listen up. I have an observation today. Y'all couldn't already tell. So first off, be careful with that desk, especially you two. All right? Here's what I want you all to do. Instead of coming in and screaming, Mason, I would like you all to take this paper that's on your all's desk, flip it over, and get started with the bell work.
Rudy, do you have a pencil bar?
I love my pencils freaking thin. I took my marker off.
Shucks.
The gray one?
Someone did it.
It's weird.
Please try to see before we start, can I get some water? No? I'm running up. In case you didn't know, I actually do something here. No.
I have this.
I will use that. This mine.
I put it in my backpack forever.
Hey, Lindsay, you got a pencil, Ashley.
Dylan, what's your shirt? You have to start for this.
Oh my God. It's working on your squats.
Landon, I'm checking my
Turn around and Dave was right there in my face. Ooh, now my hair's wet.
What is this? Yeah. Shirt, man.
What?
Shirt. Put it on. Actually, no, I didn't do some makeup stuff in here. Like some extra work design.
Oh, I missed one. I missed it. You just got one more.
Where'd it go? Tell me where it went. You're welcome.
Bailiff!
I took a test on it myself. The power of 4, I mean, I'm number 4.
Power of 6, who took that for you? I think it under 3. I took it for another one under 3. I thought you were gonna miss like 2 or 3. But no, it came out of 100.
We just had a
They're
hard
wondering
time in gym
why
class.
it last questions about I took the vocabulary.
Billy,
What is this?
it's a map.
Linen? Linen.
I need to go to Texas.
Linen. I got a shade.
Sorry, thought we need that tongue. Sitting out in the rain, no thank you. No thank you.
No,
Because it is very aggravating. It keeps on pulling. And they're itchy.
Are you coming to my house today?
Billy.
No, I'm not sitting on it, Robert.
Alright, once again, I am going to be observed today. So I need you all in your best behavior, alright?
Sir.
Yeah, she'll be here. Now, here's what I need you all to do. Flip that paper over on your all's desk. And on the back, I want you all to answer numbers 1 and 2 on the board. And that's how we'll start today. Yes, sir. I'll give you all about 5 minutes. If you all are not sure of an answer, I'll come around. I'll come around and see how you all do.
We have the paper here.
Are we doing anything else on the back of this? What is that word?
Oh, you were?
You're such a bad
Hey, you just trying to work.
If you look at me, I'm fucking master. It's like, you know how our neighbors have. Why are you trying to get something?
How's life?
Alright, so, real quick. Last week, we worked here on Monday. We had pictures on Tuesday. We worked here on Wednesday for scheduling. Thursday, there was the reality store. And Friday was Kona Ice. Y'all had it this period, right?
Dang, we didn't do nothing.
So, here's what I need you all to do. Last week, you all went through Oregon and the Mexican-American War. So this right here is going to be more of a review than anything, okay? So I want you all to answer these two to the best of your ability. And here in about, let's say about 3 minutes, we're going to go over them, all right? But I want you all now, go ahead and answer. Answer what you know.
Oh, I have to use the restroom. I forgot to ask you.
I need to wait on Rudy.
I do not feel nothing about this. Very Virginia.
You haven't been here.
Linen. Linen. Linen.
Looks like you got blow drying.
Linen. Linen.
Yeah, somebody's watching me right now.
Okay, I'm working on the paper.
Guys. Yeah, don't worry about it.
These two.
Billy. Linen.
Don't worry about it. It's just there.
I can't come
You have a pencil for me, please, Lennon? For me, please? Are you being serious, Lennon? Do you have a pencil for me?
I'm looking. I'm looking. I give it to you. Yeah, take it.
Oh my God.
Do we learn about the acquisition?
I'll give it to you, Lennon. Oh.
What is it?
I don't know any of these. I have no clue.
Can we abbreviate?
I got Hutchinson. And Hutch, I need help on the bell ringer. Looks like potato chips.
Listen up. So, a quick run through Mexican-American War and this Mexican cession. So I need you all to pay close attention to this. So for number one, what issues did Mexico have with America and Texas? Does anyone have an answer? Jalen.
America was wanting some of Mexico's land.
Excellent. What else?
Couldn't agree where the border was in an act of war.
There we go. So for number one, listen up. They couldn't decide where the borders were going to be. Alright? So whenever America got Texas, or they annexed Texas, Mexico saw this as an act of war. And on top of that, they couldn't decide where any borders were going to be to begin with. So, number one, what issues did Mexico have with America and Texas? They couldn't decide where any borders were going to be. Alright? Yes.
So back then they couldn't decide where the borders is, but now we have one perfect.
Exactly.
Wow.
So, now, so for number one, did you write that down? Yep. Alright, good. Excellent. Now, for number two, this is where it starts getting a little more geography. So first off, everyone look over here on this map. Or take a break for a second and just look over here. There we go. The Mexican cession. Now the Mexican cession is land that Mexico gave up. That included all of this. Does everyone see this?
Yeah.
Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California, parts of Nevada, Utah, and Colorado. All of that land was known as the Mexican cession. That's what Mexico gave up to the United States. Alright? After the Mexican-American War. So, why were some Americans concerned about the U.S.'s acquisition of the Mexican cession? Well, there's two different sides to this Manifest Destiny story. One side is people wanted to expand west, right? We wanted to take that land, make America big, all right? Be from sea to shining sea. That was the idea. It was our right to do that. The other side of it was that after we got this land from Mexico, people saw it as us bullying Mexico, taking their land, and we didn't necessarily need it. We already had enough land.
So they thought we might go to war again.
Yeah, they thought it might lead into more difficulty, more war. So for number two, why were some Americans concerned about us getting the Mexican cession? Simple as this. A lot of people thought we were bullying Mexico and that we did not need the land. Alright, so number two, bullying Mexico and we did not need the land. That's what I want y'all to put for number two. We were bullying Mexico. We might lead to war, and we didn't need the land. Alright? So, for this Mexican-American War, very important time in our history. It's where we gained a lot of land after defeating Mexico. A lot of people weren't too sure if they liked it or if they didn't like it. So, once you're done writing on number two, flip over back to the front. And I want you all to do the do now part. You've got a map of the United States and its territories. I want you to match those territories with those numbers. Alright? So flip on over to the front and get started on the do now part. There are two number fours. Well, I think it's pointing to that area.
Ain't the 4
There are two number fours. It's okay. Just put 4 for both of those answers.
Ain't the 49ers.
Or you can put -4.
Ain't the 49ers football team?
Yes, sir. We're gonna learn about it. Not the football team. But the actual football.
Where's the word? Oh.
Yes, I think.
Oh, we got two.
There's two fours. I didn't see. Fours something winning. I
Shh, guys, I need you all to be quiet. I need you all to work on this, all right? I'll come around if you have any questions. Do what you know so far.
She's like, where you at? I'm like,
You were the one that told her to say all this stuff. They were like, yes, nice buns. And she would be like, yeah, nice buns. Alright, so what are these?
That is Texas. That is Florida. That is California. You are adorable. And Florida. Find it.
Richard!
Just
Just for the record, the sub left a note about this class, as the last sub did, and it wasn't good. So I don't understand why you all are talking right now, after I've told you twice, we're working on the do now quiet. And for the rest of class, I think we're going to be quiet. Alright? If you all have questions, just raise your hand, I'll come and answer them, alright? But right now, I don't want to hear any talking. So Ohio, area to the of us. So that territory of us. And then what's the school?
Why not? Then you already get
That is,
That's Northwest. That was before all this.
you've got,
I made,
so for the Mexican session, I included all this thing.
Six or seven.
But for this instance, we just consolidate this. That's the rest of it.
So it's like, all now.
Good stuff.
It isn't negative.
Oh, those are
That's a lot.
I'll get you the numbers. Don't worry.
I just said.
Shh. First off, where's the Mexican section? Mexico's right here. Texas was part of the Mexican section. At least when I showed it up here. And it extended over here. So it's 6. And then where's Louisville? All right. So first off, the Louisiana Purchase by raise of hands. Someone tell me what number is the Louisiana Purchase?
3.
Good. Number 3. So for Louisiana Purchase, you put a 3. Next, the original 13 colonies. Cameron.
1.
Number 1. Excellent. Northwest Territory. Jalen. 2. Now, a couple of y'all got confused on that one. So if you look at the map, we started off in the original 13. The next place we looked was to Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Illinois, that area. And according to where we were at the time, it was to our northwest. So that's known as the Northwest Territory. The Gadsden Purchase. Which one is the Gadsden Purchase? 5. Good. It's just that little sliver of Arizona and New Mexico that we got later on. Next up, we've got Florida and Texas. So, raise your hands. Which one's Florida? Florida, the one all the way over here. And then, of course, Texas is the other number 4. The Mexican Cession, one we just went through. Where's that one, Alan?
7. No, 6.
6. Good. Number 7 is going to be Oregon. All right? Number 7 is Oregon. So now, today we're going to be talking about this is not special. We're going to be talking about the California Gold Rush. All right? So in this video, here in a second, what you all are going to do on the hook, you're going to write down 2 interesting things from the video. Something that stuck out to you, okay? And then we'll go through them. So first off, we'll click on this video. Make sure the link works. Oh, yeah, it definitely works. All right. So, I need you all eyes up on the board. Write down 2 things that you find interesting or that stick out to you about this video.
The news was astonishing, and it traveled swiftly around the world. Gold, precious gold, had been discovered in California. Almost overnight, tens of thousands rushed off, obsessed with striking it rich.
What the gold rush did was to give people permission to take risks, to gamble on life in a way that they hadn't been willing to gamble before.
Gold represented the possibility of starting anew, of being a new person, inventing a new self. It's a metaphor for hope.
The gold rush was the first time people from all of the continents came together into one particular place. It didn't always work so well. We can look to that as a pivotal event in human history, where you see created for the very first time a world-class, multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multicultural society.
Lured by the promise of gold, by the chance to change their lives in an instant, they would come. An impoverished aristocrat from Chile, anxious to recoup his family's fortune. And a strong-minded pioneer woman who refused to be left behind in Missouri when her husband came down with gold fever. A California school teacher with dreams of becoming a landowner. A sea captain's son from New England with everything to prove. And a blacksmith from New York who wrenched himself away from his wife and children and risked all that he had in the hopes of securing a more prosperous future.
Next to the Civil War in the 19th century, no other event had a greater impact and more long-lasting reverberations than the gold rush. It transformed, obviously, California, but more importantly, it transformed America.
Right. So, the gold rush, there's just a little introduction for you. So the gold rush was a period of time in the late 1840s where people started to discover gold in California. All right. Now, it used a term in that video, or a term was used, called gold fever. What do you all think gold fever, what do you think that is? What do you think they meant by that?
Where they would like do practically anything to get to where the gold was and get gold.
Good. Where people would do anything to get some gold, right? They wanted to be wealthy.
Isn't there more gold in Alaska than there is in California?
At this time period, we didn't know. But I think so. I think there is more. But for this time period, gold had never been discovered before. So, yep, first discovered, we'll talk about it here in a second. So what's some interesting things that you all wrote down? Landon?
That everybody knew for overnight.
What is it?
Like, people knew about it from overnight. And people came.
People knew about it, and overnight, they would go to California, right? Tens of thousands of people were arriving in California every day.
When was it first discovered?
1848. Jalen?
People gave up their lives.
People basically, that's a good way to put it. People gave up their life to go search for gold. An example, that blacksmith left his entire family to go look for some gold, right? I don't know. I'm not sure. What else? Okay.
I think he did a good thing about money insurance.
Think it was a good thing that he left his family to go look for gold?
Yeah.
Why's that?
So they wouldn't get sick and die on it.
If he found gold. That was the key. Joe?
Everyone, no matter what job or lifestyle, moved to try and get gold.
I think that's pretty much the best way to sum it up. So, people, didn't matter where you were from, what social class you were in, what continent you were from, people from all over the world were coming to California to search for gold. Exactly. Gracie? Yes, you can. Now, on your all's paper, you've got questions 1 through 5 right there. As we go through this PowerPoint, as usual, you all are going to fill in some of these information, some of these answers. So first off, the California Gold Rush. When and how did the California Gold Rush begin? So, there's this guy, a carpenter named James Marshall. He discovered the first nugget of gold in California in 1848.
Why would he say anything?
What is it now?
Why didn't he keep it to himself?
I feel like he probably told some people, and then word spread like quick, and eventually people are like heard about it from like across the world.
And that's why you can.
Because it's a huge deal.
Also, I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't have just went through the
That's why you don't
Not just a little bit. So, yeah, we knew what gold was. It had just never been discovered in America. The fact that it had been discovered in America made people have gold fever, essentially. So, hold on. When and how? We've got this guy, John Marshall, a simple carpenter, discovered the first gold nugget in California in 1848. And this began that race to getting rich.
Couldn't, like, if he sold it to somebody, like, then he could make it gold?
I think that was the idea. Like, he sold it, he got a lot of money for it, and then eventually the word just spread. Especially in that area, yes.
You don't want nobody to know, especially if the thieves. Don't tell nobody.
Yeah. Well, I think gold is such a, it's a way to get wealthy quick, especially during this time. People still look for gold today. If y'all watch those shows, Alaska, Gold Rush, there's people that still search for gold today, and they make a good living off of it.
He might tell people so he can be known as the first person.
That's also, maybe. I like his hat.
You try.
All right,
You gonna be broke.
so, is everyone good?
No.
All right, y'all keep going. I'll give y'all a little bit more time.
How was it discovered?
He might. Found it.
So basically, just
That's fine.
I would laugh if he was just laying on the ground and walked up.
So, for gold, listen up, everyone look up here. For gold, this right here is a pan with like, the bottom is a filter, a strainer, like a filter. So you put dirt in there, mix in water, and then you do this little shifting motion, and all the dirt and sediment goes and it leaves behind the gold particles, if the gold is there. So you collect all those gold particles, and if you get enough, you can make a bar, and that's worth a certain amount of money. What's your question? It's not.
why wouldn't you tell anybody, mainly if they're thieves? Because if you told a thief, then they're just gonna catch you with your head turned still.
Well, no one's a thief right now, because we just discovered gold.
You never know, there could be one right there.
Say if you went from New York to California and you got the gold and you send back, wouldn't you probably get robbed?
I would say if people knew you had the gold, they would try to rob you.
And they would end up getting harmed.
That's what I was trying to say.
Did you not see the sign up there that said you can get harmed?
Find gold, get robbed.
All right. So next up, who are the 49ers? We're not talking about the football team. All right. Now the football team is named after this group of people, but the 49ers.
People looking for gold in not or 1849.
Nailed it. The 49ers were thousands of people from around the world who came to California in 1849 to hunt for gold. Hit it right on the head, Jay. So for number 2, pretty simple, right? 49ers were people in 1849 who went to California to try to get some gold.
What's the abbreviation for CA?
Yeah. I usually just put Cali.
Cali.
So if you want to abbreviate, or if you want to shorten that, that's perfectly fine as well.
But they 49 you a gold ring from your sister.
Where are we at here?
Gold discovered in the last.
That was awesome.
No, after.
That really was.
7th of June.
All right, let's bring it back. Guys, Cameron, question.